Echoing, you gotta keep doing that. Okay. It is very late, and I'm very tired. I worked at the, Starbucks drive-thru for over 6 hours today. Not doing totally great. And it's very hot here, so we have all the fans going, so there might be some background noise. But, I'm alive, and I'm here to stream Psycholonials, like 9 hours after it came out. Everyone's already seen this, but I've gotten a little bit spoiled. The only thing I got spoiled by was the Instagram post, which is like 2 screen caps from it. This is the last normal update before the 2 conclusion and 413, 420 stuff. So I'm guessing this is going to end on a big cliffhanger. And this is also the last chance for Hussey to get in any last like regular scenes he wants to throw in. Because after this, it's all going to be in-game crazy stuff. I'm just gonna hop right into this, because I don't have a whole lot of extra time for fanfare. Chapter 7. Ooh, look at that picture. Chapter 7. It never even stood a chance. I think my compressor might be off too. I think it's attacking me a little too hard. So sorry if my voice is all clippy this time, but I did not have the time to do all the regular preparation. And I just did a VR stream, so I had to change a lot of my settings for that. A month later, wow. Whoa, look at the— so she's the shooter from the trailer. She cut her hair short, and she has the gun. New Whimsifay. Clown. After another month is swallowed in the dystopian 2020 abyss, the march towards social media supremacy continues unabated. Last week you leapfrog over Katy Perry. Today, you just slid past Miley Cyrus. Both accounts took 7 years to reach their marks, while yours only took 3 months to surpass them. The woman you just eclipsed, Miley, has been outspokenly critical of law enforcement through her platform, but as far as you're aware, she's never actually ended the life of an officer or given the orders to execute an entire precinct. Pathetic, really. And it's the little touches like this which make all the difference when it comes to clawing your way to the top. It doesn't matter if the commitment you think. You've been catching a lot of these bitches slipping lately, and rankings have served them notice. Wow. Look at that. 113 mil. She's got a limo? How'd they get a limo onto the island? Was it already on the island? Due to resume— well, look at that outfit though! Jeez, where's the cosplay of that? Due to resuming control of your empire with your distinct personal touch, life here on the island has stabilized after a rocky start in the days following the evacuation. A few deft political maneuvers have brought stability to your stolen summer colony, but the same can't be said for the rest of the nation, and at this point, many parts of the world as well. The US is becoming increasingly fractured due to localized Jubilite insurrections, and a great number of police stations across the nation have fallen. Certain regions of America which now represent unpoliced, demilitarized pockets of Jubilite-controlled territory have gotten so large, Ring 3 has categorized these parts of the map as Jubilite counties. Okay, so this is where you didn't miss anything. We started a minute ago. Z is the twirl gun shoot person from the trailer, and that's it. And now we're getting caught up. It's a month later. So, going by Hussey's timeline, he started writing this in April of last year. He probably wrote it in just about real time, so we're now at, like, last July, which means he was in the middle of Chaz happening. So that's why we're seeing what Jubilite autonomous zones coming up now. That is, entire counties in the US where all the majority police stations have been commandeered, and the number of counties which qualify has been making everyone in the government extremely nervous. Nervous enough to begin listening to certain demands you've been making for weeks. In recent days, hostilities in the country have finally started cooling off. This is because of negotiations you have just completed, which have resulted in a treaty between the Jubilite movement and the US government. The treaty grants formal recognition of the island of Nantucket as a sovereign nation totally independent from the United States, which is now called New Whimsifay. The mainland agrees to keep the power running and all naval blockades lifted, so you can continue supplying the island with needed resources. In exchange, you've agreed to a non-aggression pact with the US, and have publicly called for a nationwide cessation of hostilities from your Jubilite militias. No more capturing police stations, and no more expansion of Jubilite County territory. For now. Your movement has been seeping into the fabric of global politics as well. I updated the chat so that it wouldn't fade away. That didn't seem to work, so I'll look into that for the next one. Your movement began seeping into the fabric of global politics as well. Certain nations have started showing signs of instability, as the insurrections dominated by clowned-up faces have swelled to enormous sizes around the world. While such volatility has stalled in the US due to your treaty, it's only been picking up steam in other nations. You've begun to lose track of what's happening where, since there's so much to observe all at once, and you've had your hands full with domestic matters. Oh my god, what is this? But what hasn't gone unnoticed to you is the broader cultural phenomenon it's become in such a short period of time. Many celebrities are outwardly identifying as Jubilites now, both feeling emboldened by the political strength of the movement and enticed by the fashionable statement it's become to clown up in solidarity with the rebellious spirit of your manifesto. We got Ariana Grande, Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and who is this? I don't know who this man is, but they're all Jubilites now. Oh, here we go. Okay, that's Post Malone. Most of these people you could hardly give a fuck about, but you're flattered nonetheless. However, you were floored when you heard Post Malone himself was hopping into your tent. He even got some new clownish face tattoos to mark his newfound dedication to your cause. You have no idea if you found out what a huge fan of his you are, but you think you'd die of embarrassment if he knew. Sometimes you wonder if Abby sent him a sneaky message behind your back to lure him into the fold. Fuck her up if you found out she did that. Speaking of which, it seems Abby has managed to use her newfound celebrity influence to climb the ladder to her own faves. She's now in contact with her leader, Namjoon, which she seems incapable of going more than 15 minutes, so she's been friends with BTS. And there's the BTS guy with the 4 diamonds card. And when you start getting wind of a decidedly familiar-sounding movement picking up steam in South Korea, with everybody's 7 favorite boys at the helm, you naturally assume Abby used her wiles to convert them to your cause. But to your surprise, Abby didn't have much to do with this strong arming at all. You already had more in common than you thought. Apparently the boy band was curious about all the commotion America was really about, and Abby was more than happy to cut through the media play and walk them through it. She befriended Namjoon, and after many extensive dialects about justice and the perils of capitalism, it seemed the boys were inspired to start a revolution on their own terms. According to what you're hearing on the news, they've already managed to take over their entire entertainment studio, completely ousting the previous ownership. And in their new position of political leverage, they're galvanizing the people of their own nation to stand up for positive social change. They seem to have inordinately principled aversion to murder, which leaves you a bit pessimistic about the ultimate efficiencies of their manners, but you'll let them play the game they want. For now. Indeed, it appears as if a global movement is fulminating in the wake of the Jubilite uprising. Like in South Korea, parallel movements are cropping up all over the world. Some of these insurrections are being waged explicitly in your name, while some are undoubtedly the unique product of the political conditions of those particular regions. But whenever banner they fly, people of the world are rising in a tide. Meanwhile, it's finally time to put it for another formal debriefing. It's been a full month since you had your last one, when you delegated control of advanced prankships to the rising star in the organization, Jocelyn. I'm surprised she hasn't murdered Candace yet. Oh my god, hussy. But you haven't been to a briefing since, because you didn't want to make a habit of those meetings. Too much ass-kissing, too much micromanagement of stuff you can't be bothered with, and you've been way too busy with the high-stakes diplomacy anyway. You've just allowed her to slack the development of these projects on her own while you keep a close eye on her. Why is she with the other clown? Oh, and it looks like she's made the most of that slack. The roster of Ring 3 appears to have dramatically expanded under Jocelyn's administration. Whole lot of new clown faces here, but that's not too surprising. If there's one thing you've learned to never be surprised by, it's the unrelenting accrual of new clowns. More clowns than you could ever possibly know what to do with. Z, what the— Z, what a pleasure it is to make your appearance at the headquarters. It's been too long since I've had the honor of briefing you in person. And may I just say, the diplomatic work you've been doing has been remarkable, Z. Thanks, but you really should be referring to me as Supreme Honifex. Oh, great. I don't know how this is gonna end. I don't know how you wrap this up. You go meta with it? Like, everything he does just goes meta in the end. Oh yes, I'm so sorry, a slip of the tongue. It will never happen again. Now may I lead you inside so I can begin with a debriefing? My advanced prankish division has been making some incredible strides lately. No, let's stay outside. Use the fresh air. Just follow me and say whatever you want to say. Well, first I must say, if it appears that I consent to describe the tenets of advanced prankish to their author, it is only for the purpose of fully elaborating them for a wider audience, such as the gallery of rogues here. Who knows how well these chucklefucks are on Jubilite theory, am I right? I kid, of course. We're all friends here, and we like to joke around. That's what's so great about this movement, don't you think? We keep things light and humorous, and while other ideologies get so stuffy and self-important. Not us, though. Right, just wanted to make it clear that any, over-explaining I may do is simply for the sake of providing a well-rounded presentation to all, yes? That said, let's take it from the top. Advanced Prankish. The more elite ranks of the Jubilite movement have already been introduced to these teachings. It's still being kept from the masses, at your discretion, of course, so as not to alert our targets as to methods too blatantly. But there will come a time when these ideas will permeate the global Jubilite movement to maximize their effect. Soon, I imagine. When it is clear enough to the world that there is no turning back, and I would hazard that the recent work you've done securing the sovereignty of New Whimsifay put us closer to that moment than ever. There's a moment looming on the horizon. The gears turning. I call this Rapture Day. That's what Hussey said about the end of Homestuck. Yeah. So, what is it we're doing? The core to these principles is quite simple. It relies on the premise that in order to destroy evil systems of overwhelming power, there is no tactic that should be off the table. Everything the bastards are capable of going to advance their goals, we are capable of doing too, and we must. So if the rich and powerful use their staggering wealth to entrench themselves in positions of supremacy, then we are to also be able to accumulate similar values of wealth, which we have thanks to your brilliance. This means it isn't merely a good idea to use these powers to attack their power, it means we are obligated to use them. It is in fact the only way to defeat them. To abide more honorable practices would be to cede advantages to them which are counterproductive to us and wholly undeserved to them. And so, empowered thusly by our supreme Honifex, about a month ago I went to work with various channels of the most resourceful Jubilites I could find, not to mention the ones with the least scruples about getting their hands dirty. Good people, really! A dutiful ensemble of particularly salty clowns who just want to make the biggest differences possible, like me. So let's begin with an example of how one might use such levers. It's well known among upper echelons of our organization that Secretary Applepie herself targeted her own parents in a bold initial implementation of Prankish. But the success of that approach, while phenomenally instrumental in jump-starting the movement, fell short of total success. They've managed to secure most of their assets. So what other options exist? Well, one of the most direct tactics spelled out by the Supreme Honifex is to apply assets towards legitimate acquisitions. A relatively small financial firm handles all their money, and once you have billions of dollars in the bank, the question becomes, can't you just outright buy certain companies, take control of them, and then begin to manipulate them to your advantage? Why not? Billionaires and corporations everywhere do this all the time. Buy out competition, or purchase smaller, inconvenient companies simply to strip and destroy them. Or absorb smaller companies and bigger ones after retrofitting them to fit a new purpose. This can work, and we have had success with the approach in a few cases. The problem is that it's a bit slow, and very much involves operating within the legal boundaries of a complex system in order to inflict damage on said system. There are much faster ways, and that's when things get more fun. As our Supreme Honifex rightly points out, why go to the expense and bother of purchasing a company when you can simply compromise many of the people who are already running it? It's so much faster that way, and it cuts through a lot of red tape. I like this anime shirt. Is Forfan's gonna sell that? Many of the people working in these financial firms are a bunch of spineless nerds while used to handling the amount of money we're talking about, are not used to actually being paid that much. This makes them highly susceptible to bribery, while their spinelessness makes them susceptible to acts of intimidation and coercion. And if you run into some guys who are afraid of the law, that's where a good exit package can help. Just dangle a few million in front of a greedy coward along with some plane tickets to somewhere in South America, some new identity papers, whatever it takes. And then you have someone who is suddenly very cooperative in helping you move a few billion in assets around. But sometimes even all that isn't quite enough to get results. Sometimes you have a couple of really tough customers who've been fleeced already and they've already locked everything down, such as secretary's parents, for instance. With hard targets like that, there are certain tactics of last resort which can help move things along, if you catch my meaning. Did they murder Abby's parents? They did. They murdered Abby's parents. That isn't your call to make. Oh yes, I know that. I wouldn't even dream of greenlighting such a play without your express approval first. I'm just saying, it's always on the table. For any of the depraved, capital-hoarding vultures, not just her parents. I was just using them as a convenient example. So why don't you tell me what's actually been done instead of explaining it all my shit back to me? Absolutely, I'll waste no more of your time, Supreme Hontifex. We can all see you must attend to geopolitical concerns of a higher magnitude than my modest little accounting report, so I shall cut straight to the chase. Jesus. She has said that like 6 times now. First, I should mention that I've been dividing acquisitions over the last 2 months into 2 columns. Hard assets and soft assets. Assets, of course, are anything of value. Cash, stocks, bonds, deeds of properties, equity of any sort. Hard assets are now under direct control of the Jubilite organization, such as money in one of our bank accounts, or a property owned by one of our members and offered up to the organization. The total hard-earned assets... The total hard assets are now valued at well over $200 billion. Damn. Right? Not bad for a month of advanced pranktious. Tireless, round-the-clock pranktious by yours truly, mind you. But still, a nice haul if I say so myself. But it gets better. Soft assets I have defined as those not technically in our possession. These are assets still controlled by outsiders who happen to be seriously compromised by us in some way. This means in the event it becomes necessary, there's a high likelihood that assets can be transferred over to us. Naturally, it's harder to get a concrete tally of these resources, but estimates have our global soft assets at about, $1.5 trillion. That's a lot of fucking money. Sure is! It turns out it's a lot easier to move this kind of money around than you'd think, since there's barely any real footprint to the movement. If we want to quietly transfer stock from a hedge fund into our portfolio, it's just assigned to one of our members rather than a formal Jubilite entity that's easily traced. We're also counting occupied property as hard assets, that is, any empty house or building our forces have seized and which authorities have deemed too difficult to reclaim. For instance, we have well-armed Jubilites stationed in thousands of empty summer homes in Martha's Vineyard alone. That is billions of dollars worth of property. Not even to speak of the value of the entire island on which we stand. Such seizures have been taking place almost everywhere in the world. I must say it makes accounting estimates difficult, however, I believe you will find rough figures to be quite reliable. And all these people you compromised to account for the trillions in soft assets. Where are these people? Everywhere! I begin by targeting the most obvious pressure points of the American economy. The big investment firms, banks, and such, but the more I began delegating the generalized principles of advanced pranksters throughout my networks, the more our people began to improvise and target many more entities. There are now thousands of Jubilite Opfords working on this. They're squeezing marks on all the big companies, Amazon, Exxon, Facebook. A lot of people in Facebook, actually, including Zuckerberg himself, which I don't mind stating with a certain amount of pride. Really? Trust me, Supreme Hontifex. We've got this guy by the balls. Nice. It sounds like that should come in handy. Oh, believe me, it already has. It turns out compromising the human resource infrastructure of just about any corporation yields a wider range of benefits than just increasing the financial fluidity of our movement. pull the strings on a social media giant, control narratives more easily. On an energy giant, influence global geopolitics to your advantage. On an entertainment giant, well, you can change a lot of heart and minds that way, can't you? Unless... What are you getting at here? I've been quite pleased to see Secretary Applepie herself taking up the cause of advanced pranks. Totally unprompted and uninstructive. Also without including me in the loop, or coordinating with my networks in any way. Are you talking about Abby's K-pop shit? Yes! Her excellent work with the Carrion Group, which is remarkably popular. Somehow, by utilizing the world-renowned status she has achieved through her visionary work, she has convinced the band members to engage in pranks and commandeer the entertainment company they are under contract with. Yeah, I know about this. This company made about $500 million in revenue last year, and yet, due to the way the secretary has gone about this, she has not compromised them in a way that will allow our organization to siphon any of that revenue away from the company. That's why it's so important for those engaging in advanced pranks to stay connected with the network, to make sure we benefit from each operation. I understand that there was a pet project of hers because she admires these particular musicians. Yeah, it was. I thought she was just fucking around, and I'm amazed she actually got them to do it. As am I, nothing but respect for my secretary. I don't think she compromised them, though. I think they're just doing their own thing. Like, taking control of their own shit and vibing with some of the same anti-imperialist stuff we do. I think Abby's just helping them out is all. And there surely is no harm in having a bit of fun during all this. That's what Pranktious is all about, right? But I'd also wonder what the exact utility of establishing such high-profile contacts, with no intention of exploiting them. Abby would never let us do that. Precisely, which is why I can't help but feel... What? Well, considering her rank, and the influence she holds, and the example she could be setting, I can't help but to feel but as much as I love everything she has contributed to our movement that perhaps someone could be occupying the position who possibly contributes a little more to the movement. Tangibly, I mean, in terms of improving the bottom line, someone who helps bring a strong financial return on all these advanced Pranktious efforts. You know. Yeah, I mean, you aren't wrong. The type of person you describe would objectively be a better fit for the number 2 spot. Can't even argue with that. That's why I'm giving it to Meeble Mop here. No. Everything you just said sounds like fucking incredible. Really sensational work. In a month, you got more money coming in than I thought would get in like years. I guess that's what makes it such a shame. What's a shame? Oh, yep, she's gonna kill her. Oh my god. Cancelled. Oh yes! The old Homestuck Strife colors! Right through the head! Hey, Z-Jack, thank you for the bits. I don't know why Streamlabs isn't connected today, but thank you. Down she goes. Wow. Traitors get bullets. Yeah? That was the chick who spurred the cancel movement against her, and now she was trying to usurp Abby. She specifically just set out to take Abby's place, just as we said she was going to. So, yeah. Down. So I guess you must have heard about what happened today. Abby. Huh? Bitch, I'm trying to have a normal conversation with a normal person. Incredibly, having to spend all day with a bunch of weird ass-kissing clowns makes me feel like I'm losing my mind. Yeah, sorry, I'm just in the middle of an important conversation. Is that your K-pop boy? Yeah? How's it been going with him? Very good. I still feel surreal being on speaking terms with one of my idols, though. Guess I can relate. I mean, to him, not to you. Feels like somebody tells me something like that every day now. Yeah, I guess. Cult of personality is a powerful thing. It sucks, actually, but yeah. So, you hatching more schemes over there with, what's-his-face, the leader boy? Namjoon? Yeah. I think at this point you're just forgetting their names on purpose. Maybe you should cut it out. Didn't you used to hate it when people got your name wrong? Well, yeah, I did, until I changed my name and it stopped mattering. Maybe they should pick cool new names for themselves, like me. Cool and new names. They did! When BTS was starting out, Namjoon called himself Rap Monster. Oh, Jesus Christ. Never mind, then. LMAO! So you got him to hijack that shitty record label? What next? More pranks? Yeah, we're talking about a few options. It's crazy the amount of influence they have over what could happen in their country. Probably even more than you have here. Well, yeah, clearly. I'm just an American anti-hero cult figure or something, but enemy number one to the state. These guys are so benign, way too much cuck energy to be threatening to anyone. But I'm glad to see you're helping them fuck things up. I'm not really trying to fuck anything up, though. I'm just happy to see them take full control of their destiny as artists. And I'm barely even doing anything for them. It's all they're doing, really. What about you? Haven't you made inroads with people you admired? I just saw that Post Malone is a Jubilite now. Seems that way. Some new clown tats and everything. Fucking wild. So why don't you reach out? I can't. I just embarrass myself and fangirl if I talk to him and blow my whole mystique. Besides, I don't think I can good conscious drag Post deeper into this mess. And probably destroy the poor guy's life. I'm not going to mess with him or anything. I bet he would like to hear from you. I know this is all insane and very serious business all the time, but I still think you should try to get in the original spirit of it when you can. You know, try to have fun? Fun, right. Yeah, right. How can I think about fun? Do you know what I had to do today? Yes, you already tried to ask me, and I was just trying to keep my mind occupied so I don't have to dwell on that stuff. I'm sure you had good reasons for dealing with Jocelyn anyway. That way. You're trying to keep us all alive here, and that probably means making tough decisions. But does anything like that, like violent stuff, it really triggers me even having to think about it, so I have to figure out ways to keep myself sane. I know. I don't mean to push it in your face. I never even told her because I didn't want to upset you. Told me what? About a month ago, I figured out she was one of the girls who terrorized me after my breakdown a few years ago. And somehow she climbed the ladder as an undercover clown. Oh jeez, that's really scary. I don't even think she had a problem with me after all this time. I doubt she even believed in anything. She never actually cared about my original problematic shit I was called out for, was cancelled for. She just enjoyed using it as an excuse to trash me. And then she saw the chance to get involved with something cool and make herself important, and she took it. I wouldn't be surprised if her long game was gunning for my spot, not just yours. I just didn't tell anyone I knew so I could keep a close eye on her. At least it's over. Yeah, but I have to be more careful. What a fucking train wreck this all is. Anyone could be anyone. Really cool of me to build an organization which by definition lets your membership conceal who you really are. I just need a tighter ring, that's all. I got too sloppy. I'm sure you'll figure it out. We've really painted ourselves into a corner here. There's so much danger and we can't really reverse course, so hope you don't mind if I sink myself into these distractions. Yeah, it's fine. We just vibing tonight. Here, want some? No good, Thanks, I'm good with the wine. You must really be tapping into the dregs by now. How much is that bottle? A couple $100, I think. Ugh, ew. Oh, that is some nasty shit. You might as well just go back to the bar and top your glass off with Dave Hasselhoff's dick. Wow. That's fine. Anyway, since when did you start blazing it? Since like 1 billion tons of weed started getting smuggled onto the island. It's like a lot of land is getting adapted to weed farming now. That's very close. That's kind of a thing in my New Game Plus route. You'll know that later this year. That's cool, I guess. New Whimsifay doesn't need an economy after all. Seems like a good export model. Did you order the people to do that? Nope. A lot of shit just sorta happens now. I barely have to do anything operational, except preside over the occasional clown execution. Let's hope that duty stays very occasional. I don't know, my hater list is pretty long by now. Please tell me you're joking. What, about doing more clown executions? Yeah, I was joking. But about the list, it's an actual thing. I thought you knew about it. Yeah, I do know. I was hoping you'd just stop keeping up with it at some point. Are you still actually maintaining it? Well, damn it, Z. There's just so many fucking people out there to get us. Really bad people. It's not even just old shitty old haters like Jocelyn anymore. I'm tracking nasty government and media people too. Bunch of corporate types. Awful guys, you know? Yeah, I get it. They're all terrible. I just think this hit list stuff is really unhealthy for you. Like, psychologically. It makes you really paranoid, and I'm worried that you... What? I just don't want you to see you spiral into that dark place that got you started on this all over again. I'll be fine. I know I complain about shit, but I feel so much better than I ever did. Everything has a purpose now. I don't need to struggle with my direction in life or what I'm trying to accomplish. That's great and all, and I know you're smarter than me, so sometimes I feel crazy putting out stuff that sounds like really basic, but all these lists of people you keep, isn't that kind of a thing that dictators do? Like keep track of all the people they don't like who are expendable? It's a pretty melodramatic take. I'm not playing a mass purge of haters and antis if that's what you're asking. It's only because most of these fucking maggots aren't even worth the energy. Alright, if you say so, but I hope you don't mind if I just keep pulling back from this in any way I can. I'll always be here for you, of course, but I've just been considering deactivating my social media account soon. Are you sure about that? No, it's just something I'm thinking about. So, if I'm correct in that he wrote this chapter close to Chaz happening, it was also when we were all moving to Mastodon. So that's interesting that he brings up deactivating social media, because we all were. To get a little more distance from everything and keep myself sane. People will see it as a formal resignation from your position in the chain of command, though. Someone else would need to fill the void, and you're the only person I can trust. I know that. I'm really wrestling with it. I want to keep supporting you, I just haven't decided what to do yet. Alright then, I'm gonna go piss while you think about it. Give K-pop Monster my regards. Oh, she's back here in the mirror. She's changed a lot since the last time she was looking in that mirror. But, well, we saw anyway. Well, Abby talks to her new friend who once named himself after a monster. You stare in the mirror at her old friend who may be in the process of turning herself into one. So much crazy stuff is happening constantly, it can be easy to start feeling numb to it. But maybe it's a good idea to reflect on certain surreal truths now and then. Like how maybe it feels pretty messed up when your chill wine buddy has to sincerely offer cautionary remarks about turning into Joseph Stalin. That's ridiculous, of course. Yes, many revolutionaries after tasting success would hear the siren song of mass murder, but you know in your heart you're different. You're never more than sure that you've never been more sure that you're doing this all for the right reasons, and anyone who tried to convince you otherwise would probably regret it. So through the clown paint, she has a nose, which is weird for Hussy art. Hussy email change, like the dates. Oh, right, the Reddit Homestuck stuff ended in early March. Yeah, he emailed Mackin and Drew January, February. Then he started writing this in March probably through July-ish. from the pandemic starting to Chaz ending, I'm guessing, the Psycholonials, where it fits in. And then he did art through the rest of the year while he was posting the e-boy pictures, the clown pictures. An urgent news article is blowing up on your phone. Nothing ever blows up on your phone unless it's highly relevant to your movement. The fans and key members of your organization are always the first to push the story at hand, the story hard, and it always makes you nervous when it happens. Big stories rarely feel like they contain good news for you. What's burning now? And this one is certainly no exception. The report says Abby's parents' mansion has just exploded. Both are presumed dead, but there's no official confirmation of their deaths. But you don't need confirmation. You know they're dead. Your people did this. There's no other explanation, and they wouldn't have done it if they weren't sure the targets were in sight at the time. You feel sick. This was Jocelyn. It had to be her. The bitch greenlit the orders behind your back before she died. When she floated the idea to you, it wasn't a hypothetical. The orders were already out. Ugh. You're afraid to go back and talk to Abby. You have no idea how you can break this to her. In fact, you don't even need to. She must have seen it on her phone already. What do you say? How can you explain this? You tiptoe out of the bathroom. Whoa, we just jumped to second person. Okay. You tiptoe out of the bathroom. You take impossibly tiny footsteps back to the living room. Maybe if you walk slowly enough, you'll simply never arrive. Hey, I'm sorry. I'll be okay. A part of me always sensed this day would come. It wasn't supposed to, though. It was Jocelyn. She mentioned something about it, but I had no idea she already put the motion without telling me, and I guess I killed her before she had a chance to reverse the order. It's my fault. No, it's mine. I went along with it at the beginning and just kept going. I could have stopped at any time, but I enjoyed it as much as you did. I finally felt like I was reclaiming part of my soul by ripping them off. The part of me that benefited from all their money at the expense of others. I thought if we could use their money to make a difference, it would make me feel better, but it went too far. All of this did. I mean, they weren't good people, though. I know they weren't, but it wasn't their fault, though. They just made too much money and spent too much time with the wrong people. Listened to too much bullshit. They were family. I didn't want this. Personally speaking, I know this is really heavy right now, but you get used to being free of your bad parents. I'm sure it'll feel liberating after you let some time go by. See, I don't think that's a nice thing to say right now, but I'm too sad to be mad about it. I have to deactivate my accounts. I'm sure you'll be able to find someone who isn't a backstabber to help you. I'll still follow you all the way because I love you, but there's certain things I can't do anymore. Aww, psychic damage is getting real low. She's lost Abby now. She's lost the cast, right? There's no more named clowns that she's still friends with. She's alone. Oh, the horse, of course. She lost Percy, she lost Abby, she lost Jocelyn. All that's left is the horse. Naturally. The feeling of heartbreak leaves a void. Rage fills it quickly as usual. At first, it's anger at yourself. You know Jocelyn was a traitor, but you strung her along for an entire month, letting her play games while you were biding your time, waiting for the right moment to put her down. If only you hadn't been so lenient. He fit, 3 aspects of that first line. You could have pulled the trigger weeks earlier, before she had the chance to get carried away. Or you could have just shot her the day you found out about her treachery. But why should you be angry at yourself? She was the one who killed Abby's parents, and she was the one who cancelled you. Beating yourself up for your leniency is just playing into the hands of people like this. It's letting them win, no. She was the one who deserves all your rage. Everyone like her deserves your rage. Maybe even more than just that. Maybe they all deserve what Jocelyn had coming as well, but you can't start thinking that way. You remember what Abby was telling you, about your hater lists, about what that could lead you to. already hurt her so much. You can't let her yourself put her through more grief than she's already endured. You don't know how you'd be able to live with yourself if you destroyed her. You're exhausted. You tell yourself the same thing you've been telling yourself most nights when trying to sleep. All these problems will probably seem less insane and unsolvable in the morning, but you tell yourself anyway. Oh, you're never right, obviously. But you tell yourself anyway, like a comforting lullaby. Here we go. Dream sequence. This is going to be the last big thing before the finale chapters. Also, yes, we were always in second person. I don't know why that leaped up to me. I think because it was an action, and it had only been thoughts up to that point, but it leaped out to me for some reason. Oh, here's the sword. Riotous. Yeah, yes. Don't go. We need to talk. Where would I go? As long as you feel driven to survive, I will always be with you. I mean, don't fuck off suddenly. I need more answers. No, I need help. I'm only unavailable the moment you wake up. Your time with me is only fleeting if you waste it. I need to know if you're real. Or am I just losing it? If I were a figment of your imagination, couldn't I just answer, yes, I am real? Your subconscious could insist on my reality through this lie to continue tricking you. And if I were real, couldn't I simply lie about that as well, to plant seeds of doubt in your head that the origin of the ideas you are sharing with the world? This just sounds like a fancy bullshit way of saying, I can't trust anything you say. But perhaps you can't. Didn't you already know that? Why are you asking to confirm something that when you know the mere act of confirmation could be part of the deception? Wouldn't it be better to assume I'm real and ask me these important questions you have? Then after I answer, you're free to wake up and decide what value those answers have been, making your next decisions. Ugh, okay. Last time you were popping off, you're like, insane psychic imperialism. I was? Yeah, that's what you were hinting at. Then what's your question? I don't even know yet. I guess I'm just trying to confirm that's what's going on here, based on the presumption you're real. As I just explained, I can't even confirm I am real, let alone confirmed what you just asked, but I can continue doing as I've done, which is to speak of certain possibilities. Like what? Just as the possibility that I was not even the first Jubilant, as your manifesto describes. Huh? Are you saying you aren't? I'm saying you should consider the possibility that I'm not. Consider that I was once a member of a race of people on a far-off planet which was not called the Whimsifay, and who had never even heard of the Jubilites, or had any particular affinity for clowns. And what the fuck? Also consider that I was visited in my dreams by a being that was self-described from the first planet Jubilite, from a planet called Whimsifay. And she told me everything I have told you. Eventually she began telling me to consider even deeper truths about her identity. She began asking me to consider that she was not the first either. And then came the promises. Promises? She promised glory, infamy, immortality. She promised a transcendence from the physical form, of attachment to my original planet and culture. She promised even that I would rise above everything I accomplished with the conquest of my own world. So that's, the trailer. The trailer speaking was that voice to him. She told me that there was so much more to discover, if only I persevered and achieved absolute victory. Are you telling me that's what's in store for me if I, win? I'm not telling you anything. I'm asking you to consider it, just as she was. Okay. I think I get the game you're playing, and the, weird verbal rules it has for some fucking reason. Whatever, I can play along. You already have been. And as I said before, you've been doing very well. So when she told you that stuff hypothetically, what did you do? I continued doing what I was already doing, because regardless of where the ideas originated, I believed what I was doing for my world was right. But I continued with additional vigor, because it was then that I began to believe I was becoming a crucial part of something which had great cosmic significance. It seemed to me that I was assuming a place in a lineage of unfathomable, consequential figures, which spans millions of years and billions of stars. I guess that's a sort of motivation, sure. It doesn't sound like the type of idea which motivates you, though. I don't know, it's fucking lots. That's perfectly reasonable stance, and it is my predecessor felt it was important to leave the truth of herself as speculative, and why I am doing so with you as well. Because there is no motivation which can truly substitute the feeling of conviction that what you are doing is right. And that sense must come from within you, not from fairy tales of space and infamy. Well, I do think what I'm doing is right, but it's also really hard, and it's fucking up my friendship and making me feel sad all the time. I didn't say it was easy. In fact, I'm telling you it's the opposite, just as my predecessor told me. But it sounds like she lit a fire under your ass all the same. When she told you all that stuff, didn't you say you did? But, like, extra vigor? Yes. What does that even mean? It means I was brutal. Is that not what you wanted to hear? It sounds fucked up. It sounds like what I'm already worried about. And what Abby's really worried about. I don't think I can hurt her anymore. I remember what it was like to have mortal concerns like these. I feel nothing but sympathy for what you're experiencing. But these are very small matters compared to the grand scale we are discussing. You must understand. It feels like you're trying to convince me of being more hardcore about this, but trust me, dude, I'm already there. You really aren't. Man, I made fucking lists, and I shot a girl today, she killed Abby's parents, and I am not lecturing you. I am actually paying you a compliment. You have come so much further than I did, in a much shorter period of time. How long did it take you? It took me many years to crush all the forces of opposition on my planet. The lives lost were countless. You've spent only months pursuing your mission, yet incredibly you are on the precipice of total victory. I am? The fact that success is so nearly within your grasp may not be obvious to you, but it is very clear to me. So, if what I'm hearing is right, you've been coming into my dreams basically to finally tell me how much better at this I am than you. That is not inaccurate. But it is also foolish to be overconfident. Overconfident is a slow and insidious killer. And even more foolish to assume the level of brutality you've already inflicted will be remotely sufficient for completing your mission. Withdrawing now from your instincts of survival and the violence that flows from it naturally would be a great mistake. I don't know if I really... I mean, Abby just thinks I should delete the lists. She's not the Supreme Honeyfex. You are. I know. There were so many who opposed me too. Their methods and motivations are always the same. Ridicule, jealousy, conniving, greed, lust for power. They will all try to kill you eventually, I promised. Such a lust for revenge. But who? So I should, you remember why you wrote those lists originally, don't you? Yeah. And don't you remember what they did to deserve it? There is nothing else for me to say, because you already know this as well as I. The moment you wrote down their names, they were dead. Omawire Shinderu. Wow. Oh, whoa, lots of blood. You wake up and it's still nighttime. How long were you out? It could have been more than a few hours. The dream was the most intense you've ever had. So intense, you're bleeding now. Somehow. You've been gripping your phone so tight your hand hurts. What the... It appears your entire hater list has been copied into a text message addressed to Ring 3. Did you do this in your sleep? They've responded with understandable confusion. They're wondering what the purpose of this list is and what you want them to do, but you know there's only one possible reason you would have dropped this list here, unconsciously or otherwise. Understanding the correct moral choice is rarely that hard. You usually have more than enough information available to decide. A good friend who loves you, a girl who's done everything in her power to keep you from growing astray, and offered as collateral was her heart, which would shatter if you fell too far, but there are other factors to consider. Factors which all good sense in the hearts of our loved ones have rarely been able to compete with. There was the factor of inevitability. Your vision was inevitable. The sledgehammer it's taken to the capitalist order of the planet was inevitable, and what is perhaps also inevitable is your wrath. As Riotous rightly pointed out, these people brought this upon themselves. The moment they spoke your name with a sense of spite, they should have known they were speaking a suicidal curse, inviting this inevitability into their lives someday. Inevitability is defined by the forces which try to stop it. Its strength is measured by everything that gets in its way, only to be crushed. The power of a nation, the heart of a friend, and even the conscience of the host, or that is to say, the vessel meant to deliver the unstoppable. Your conscience can make you bleed through the nose and turn white to put up a fight against the inevitable. But like every single one of those miserable fucking rats, it never even stood a chance. And that's the end of the chapter. That was heavy. Yeah. Be continued. Wow. Okay. Hope I'm not Jocelyn. Am I on Hussy's list? Yeah, so next week there is no update. But then after that, there's not Wednesday updates anymore. I believe they're both on a Tuesday. It's 4/13 and 4/20. It's going to be the big two-part finale, and whatever happens after that. I'm guessing he's just going to let this end and let it sit for a while, and then maybe a Homestuck project in the fall. But, jeez. Yeah. And even though next week is an off week, there hasn't been an off week. Because the first Wednesday there was no update was when all the Instagram posts went up. And the second Wednesday there was no updates is when Troubled Cosmos started. So there's likely going to be something next Wednesday. Homestuck 3. Let's check the cast list, because there were some new clowns in that update. They put the cast list on the website now, though, which makes me think it might be over. This is still locked. Still don't know what that is. Although I'm guessing it's just a cutscene gallery if you have a completed save, but we'll see. What have we got here? Anyone new? Oh, there's a few oh, that's the rooftop ones. Was this guy new? Sugarberry? I don't think so. Boaters. So I remember Platypus. Ring 3. Chancellor Poppycock. Jocelyn. Declussy. Mizzlebit. Oh, here we go. Ring 3's second wave. Mac Sassafras. Gobsmack Fauntleroy. Ganderzap Casserole, Queen Kerfuffle, Daffodil Fettuccine, Tablespoon McNugget, Teaspoon McMuffin, and Turtle Burger. Turtle Burger's a good name. I'm not playing the Turtle Club clip that Vinny plays. No, no, no. The lock just might mean more to come, since there were not originally 5 menu items. Oh, okay, there was just a few, and then they added cast, which wasn't the lock. So yeah. There might be 2 more. Let's see if they put anything new on the shop. I want that anime shirt. They did not. No. Okay. This is where I'm gonna leave off. I'll see you all in a couple weeks. Sorry this stream was so late, but I was gone all day. Thank you to ZJack for the bits. Thank you to Tanya for following me 8 hours prior to the stream. And thank you to Puppy No Gun for following me 2 days ago. I'm still really surprised at how well these videos are doing on YouTube, and like people are actually coming to my channel afterwards. That's amazing. Thank you guys. I'm definitely gonna keep up this schedule after Psycholonials ends. I'm still trying to move out by summer, and once I have my own place, I can do like an actual hard schedule where I can read through a bunch of other stuff like this. Both Homestuck stuff and Left Wing stuff and whatever crossover there is there. And I'm still working hard on, as a writer on New Game Plus. Go check them out at Studio June. That's gonna be great. They're also working on Friendsim 2. What else can I plug? I'm gonna plug Aisha again. I like plugging Aisha for no reason. If you go to Magic the Gathering's website, Aisha wrote a story for them, for the Strixhaven block. It's really good. She has a few cards, too, of her character. It's great. Psycholonials. Yeah. Are there 10 new webcomics here, though? Is this a webcomic? Remember, this is still a video game. This is sold for money on Steam. Which reminds me the new Isaac DLC is out, so I think I need to go play that. Alright. I'll see y'all. Have a good couple weeks. Stay safe. Don't end up on Hussy's list of antis. Video game. The next chapter is supposed to start with Riotous speaking to us again, so it'll be the last time we finally get the choice. Something will happen. The true successor. Or I'm gonna stop saying bye and actually go. Bye.